Okay, let's pick up where we left off. The city had called and told me I need to come up there before they arrested me. And, they put out a warrant for the dog at large ticket. So I got ready and I go up there. Now, the guy that I was staying with tells me, don't go, it's a setup. They're going to arrest you. I'm like, well, what can they arrest me for? I haven't done anything. And so I go ahead and I go up there. And I park at Sevco, which was the convenience store. It's this convenience store high in the city where the cops are. And I go over there and I go in there. The judge apparently is in the back at this time. So the clerks go back there, and you can tell something was fishy. The way they were acting, the way they had so many people in that office when normally there's not that many people. And, oh, hold on, let me have this one take care of you. I've got to run to the back. I'm thinking, okay. Well, they go to the back. The judge comes up there, and she's like, you're going to have to sign this. You're going to have to do this. And then they're trying to stall me. And I was like, this isn't fair that I'm having to pay this ticket. It's not. I've showed them texts and everything, and she's like, I don't know anything about that. I mean, she's just hateful. I know nothing about that. Well, I'm trying to explain to you what it is. I'm trying to show you what it is. Well, I'm not worried about that. You need to figure out how to take care of this ticket. So she doesn't even care that it was all a setup. Okay. So I leave and go to get in my car because I knew something was up at that point. I go back to the convenience store and go to get in my car, and there is the cops coming up behind my car. The city manager steps out of the front seat of the patrol car. He is the one that had me arrested. Now, he gets out and he tries to put his hands on me. And I tell him, don't touch me. Do not touch me. He's like, you're under arrest. I said, you have no right to touch me. Do not touch me. And here comes the cop behind me. I said, oh, where's your warrant? They didn't have one. And we're in the convenience store parking lot. They're like, we don't have one. I was like, well, you're going to need a warrant to arrest me. No, they arrested me. I got sent over there. They tried to take my purse and my phone out of my hands. I told them, don't touch my stuff. I said, you have no right to touch my stuff. You have no right to touch me because you have no warrant. Well, they didn't care. In this town, they do whatever they want. When they want, how they want. With whoever they want. They pick and choose. Well, I get over there to the jail. And they're booking me in. They're at this point, still no warrant. Okay. Now, I'm already booked in. And then they get a phone call. Well, the judge is here to do it. To sign it. They had to rebook me in the jail. I sat in there for 20 days. Nobody, not one bondsman would come get me out. I have never been in trouble up until this. Never. I got an MIP when I was 16. Holy shit, I took care of that. I was on probation, paid fines, everything. Even did community service. But this is the first time I got in trouble when it's my first offense. Why would no bondsman touch me? Because they told them not to. They told all of them not to. My bond was $7,500. Nobody would touch me. And at this point, it had nothing to do with what he said he thought they heard me say on the phone. At this point, it was for harassment or retaliation. Because if you go back to my other videos, it'll state where I told that cop I was going to get him for harassment. So that's what they pinned on me. Harassment or retaliation. They didn't know which one yet. So after 20 long days of me being in jail, losing everything, I lost everything at that point. My dogs were even in puppy jail. They were in the pound. And they sit in there for 20 days too. The day I got out of jail, a bondsman shows up there to get me out with no money down. Well, why couldn't you do that to me on day one? This is insane. Well, hold on. Let me back up. While I was in jail, being that I said harassment, they called in the Texas Rangers. Now, if this guy was a Texas Ranger, I don't know. I figure it's one of their goons, that showed up there, because when he walked in there, I didn't get halfway through my story of what was going on. And he told me who he was, which I don't remember. If I seen him, I could tell you it was him. But he goes, if it's not sexual harassment, I don't want nothing to do with it. I said, are you kidding me? This ain't fair. Like, I'm being dragged through the mud. Money that I don't have, that the city's making me just constantly pay over and over and over because they can. And he walked out. So if it's not sexual harassment, I guess I'm screwed. So I went in there for 20 days. Lost everything. They give me a lawyer, which does not speak to me or even show up until the day I'm getting released. The day I'm getting released. She's in the other room while I'm talking to the bondsman in the visitation area. I don't speak to her that day. She's like, oh, I must have missed you. Ah, you must have, huh? Took forever for me to get a hold of her. And when I did get a hold of her, after I got released from jail, she goes, the city doesn't like you. Stop harassing them. I said, excuse me, but feelings are mutual. And I'm not harassing them. I don't follow them. I don't go to their house. I don't go and pick up their dogs. I don't do anything like that. Why can't they leave me alone? And them stop harassing me? That's pretty much all she had to say to me through that whole entire time. It's been 3 years. Because they couldn't decide which one they wanted it to be. I never went to court. But the day I got out of jail, the city calls me. The chick that told the city manager that I supposedly said that. City calls me, and she goes, we want to apologize for you having to spend that much time in jail. We'll give you your dogs back. You don't have to pay this ticket. Excuse me? We apologize because you know you was in the wrong. You know for a fact I did not say that. So I lost everything while I sat in jail for 20 days because the city manager decides he's going to put me in jail. And the judge would not even attempt to look at any of that. So it just went on from there. When I got out, my dad had a camper, pull behind. And he told me I could live in it. It's a little 2-bedroom camper. And I moved in to it on this property, which is across the street from me now. It was my dad's friends. They were building a restaurant there. And I was to help, That's fine. So I'd go out there and help. But I wasn't allowed to have no friends. Nobody at the camper with me. Nothing. If I did, the guy that owned it would throw a fit. But yet, this man was mad because I wasn't showing him attention. And I wasn't sleeping with him. He's almost 70? Yeah, no, I don't think so. Sorry. One day my dad come up to me. And, now this is the worst thing your dad could ever say to anybody. He put me in his truck. We need to talk. I said, well, what? I couldn't have a life. I couldn't do nothing. Okay. I was, 35 at that time? And I'm being treated like a kid? Well, my dad tells me, now mind you, I used to be 282 pounds, and I dropped down to 150 because I starved myself every single day. Messed up my stomach, so it hurt to eat. If I ate, I was puking. So when I dropped to 150 pounds, I started dressing better and doing my hair, doing makeup, dressing up. Well, apparently my dad did not approve, but my dad was an alcoholic who stayed at the bars. But he turns to me and he tells me, he said, Jerry wants you to move. I'll give you the camper, but you have to leave. I said, and you're okay with me being kicked out? I mean, what's the deal? I said, I'm sitting over here like y'all want me to. I'm not doing nothing. He says, well, you got some people coming up here. I said, I don't have nobody to talk to. Y'all are confining me to this camper. And, he goes, well, if you wouldn't dress like a whore, my friends wouldn't want to sleep with you. To hear that come out of my dad's mouth, after everything I've already been through, me fighting the city, and knowing that still nobody had my back. Whether I was doing good, whether I was doing bad, it didn't matter what it was. Sorry. So I had no money. Really no place to go. At that point, I was already out of options. There was a trailer park here in town. And I moved the trailer down there. And I started working for the guy. The dog catcher that killed a whole litter of my pups and came and told me that he stuck them in a freezer and he gassed them and then watched them flop until they died and then chunked them in the sewer. That's what he told me on how he killed my animals. And he lived across the street, but there was a house in between, so he couldn't see my camper. And he goes to the guy that I'm working for and he tells him, oh, she's selling drugs out of there. I know she is. I've seen different cars up there. Man, I couldn't have anybody at my house. No matter what I did, who was there, it didn't matter. It was always drugs this, drugs that. And it wasn't. But no matter what I did in this town, no matter where I went, and something was always said. So I got fired. Got kicked out of there. And I'm losing my mind at this point. Like, I can't take this. No money. No, nothing. Nothing. My kids are already turning against me. You can't keep a job. I'm trying. I'm fucking trying. And Their dad had turned them against me. My family turned them against me. The cop turned them against me. Well, after I got kicked out of there, I went to the convenience store. And there's a place behind there, or at the grocery store, there's a place behind there to stay. This was in the middle of the pandemic. I get kicked out of there because I didn't have the money to pay. And I'm like, dude, we're isolated to our houses. I have no way of making money. I can't go out and work. I don't have no place to go. And he did not care. You have to leave. I don't care. I said, they're saying that you can't just kick us out right now because I have no place to go. I got kicked out with nowhere to go. My brother calls me. And he said, look, I'll give you the trailer, but you have to give me your camper. He had already had another house given to him. I don't know how they keep getting these houses given to them. I said, I want to keep my camper. No, that's the only way you're going to get the trailer, is I get the camper. He wanted it so he could trade it for a motorcycle. And I thought, this is my safe place. So I was like, I just want to keep the camper because the house wasn't even set up ready. Now, there was no sheetrock. There was no insulation. They had just ripped everything out of here. I mean, everything. There was no flooring. I come into this house with electric not even working in the back half. And no flooring, no sheetrock, no ceilings, no nothing. I had to fix that. They took everything that was bought for this trailer to be fixed, took it to his other house. So this one had nothing to start with. And I had no funds. I didn't have any income coming in whatsoever. I had nothing to fix it with. And I was down and out. But I told him, I said, I need to stay in the camper till I get it fixed. I can park it in the yard of it. And he tells me, all right, you got plenty of time to do that. The night I get it pulled here, I get it set up, trying to get it set up. It wasn't even all the way set up. It was late, so I was like, screw it, I just want to go to bed. The next day, he comes over here. You got to get moved out of the camper. You got to move into the trailer. I need the camper now. And pulled that camper out from under me. Took off with it. So I moved into my house. And it was horrible. Hold on, I will show you pictures of how this house looked when I moved into it. And I had to, or I missed out on the opportunity of having the house. Which sucked because this house was not livable. He wouldn't even move into it. But that was the only way I got the house. And I had to do it right then, like they wanted. And I tried. I came in here and I stayed in here, even though it wasn't livable. And it should have been condemned, is what it should have been. But me, being me, it's like I have to fix everything. I have to try to fix everything. I'm thinking to myself, I got this. I cried, and I cried, and I cried. No help from family members to fix it. It was me doing it by myself. So I had to go out and find pieces to fix my house with. I had to find flooring, which it's still not done. Okay? It's not. My house is not the perfect house. But I came up from nothing. And I started working to get the stuff to bring over here to fix it. I went out and I would do mowing jobs. I would take care of the elderly. I would take care of their yards. I would do errands for people. Just anything and everything to make money. And it's still, I struggled. I struggled every day. When you don't have no one to turn to, and you have everybody against you in the same town, and people's already stolen from you, the cops won't do nothing about it, you've been just run through the mud. It makes you want to give up. And I did. I wanted to give up so bad, so many times. So I would go, and nothing in my house is new. Nothing. I didn't even have a hot water heater. Forever. For over, I know it's well over a year. Almost 2 years. I didn't have a hot water heater. And I would have to heat up my water. Now, mind you, this is the night I moved in. That's my living room. Now, they took all the stuff to fix the house with. This is how I moved in. I started doing the sheetrock on the ceiling. I started doing the sheetrock on the walls. Do you know how hard it is to do sheetrock on the ceiling by yourself? It's hard. You can see the ceiling there. It's just old insulation that was wet, had been wet. Well, if the glare would go off of it. You can't see that. Okay. Anyways, that's what it looked like when I moved in here. And now, see the door? Okay, with that closet right beside it. Now, I took a picture of me standing in the same spot. That's what I turned it into. Out of picket fence. And 4x4s. And the seat of it was the top of a bar. So yeah, it was pieces that I found. Pieces that I gathered, you know. And that was the hardest thing to do. Now, at this point, I'm working. The cops are still sitting in front of my house, passing by my house. I mean, I was videotaping, or I walked by my door, and I seen the cop sitting across the street. So I stop and I look, and she's just sitting there. You can see she's holding something in her hand. So I put Facebook Live on, and I walk outside and I point it towards her. And she sits there for a few minutes, and she drives over here to my house. I mean, I got pictures of her sitting in front of my house. She drives over here to my house, and she goes, "Can I help you with something?" It's on my Facebook. And I said, "Well, I was wondering the same thing." She goes, "Are you needing something?" I said, "Are you?" And she goes, "I'm doing my job. I'm not sitting here looking at you." I said, "You're not? Then why do you have the camera facing towards me? Facing towards my house. How'd you know I was standing at the window?" "Well, you're stopping me from doing my job." Now, let me tell you something. I'm stopping her from doing her job, but let me tell you who this is. Carissa Earls. She worked in Borger, Texas, as a police officer. She got fired because she had slept with a 14-year-old and a 17-year-old, and she was at the party with them and letting them mess with her gun. Whatever parent that was, and was okay with that, you're sick. You're sick as hell. Because if that was my boys, I wouldn't let that go. I know what it feels like. For you to let that go, that's going to haunt that kid for the rest of their life. I'm telling you. So you're crooked and you're sick for that being okay. We take Stinnett. We take all of Borger's screw-ups. All the ones that have, messed up or been fired or whatever. We take them all. The city of Stinnett has hired cops that didn't even have certificates to be a cop. We've hired ones that has 1,500 wives. Come on now. This town does not give two shits about who protects our children. They're all worried about, the dope heads, the crackheads, There's no crackheads here. You're ignorant. Y'all don't know what the hell you're talking about. The ones that smoke pot, guess what? The people that are out here supposedly protecting our children are on it. They're selling it. I have that from a reporter. I have it through text. And I have an eyewitness that was on video chat. That went, while she was on video chat, the officer goes into the evidence room. Hold on, that'll be here in a minute. Let me get back to what I was doing, and I will explain that later. So if anything happens, that you know the cops done it, okay? Just saying, because I get scared to come home now. I get terrified to come home. I'm always scared when I'm home, and I've never been scared to be at home. This is my safe place. It should be my safe place. But after everything they have done, and I have seen in all the unexplained deaths, no. There are people that are dying in the same group, and it's all unexplained. Even though there's one with an autopsy that states there was pillow follicles in her nose. She was asphyxiated. She was face down when she doesn't sleep face down. And they're not even investigating it. I've called the state troopers. I've called the Texas Rangers. I've called the State Bar of Texas. I've called everybody. I've called the FBI. Nobody wants to listen to me. So this is why I'm making this video. So the right person will find this and somehow contact me and help this town. Anyways, back to where I was. She was sitting outside my house. And the cop was. She comes over here. She's running her mouth saying, you're stopping me from doing my job. And I said, we all know what your job is, lady. And it's not, you're not patrolling. You're sitting here on my house. And she's like, do you have anything to hide? Well, if I was hiding something, do you think I'm going to come out and tell you? Well, that was a dumbass question. No, I don't have anything to hide. Do you? Miss Perfect? She starts running her mouth. I went to running my mouth, and I walked in, and I slammed my door. She's still out there running her mouth. I got pictures of everything I hear. Later that night, see, I had gotten married to my third husband at this point. I fell in love with this man. I didn't even love him as much as... I didn't love him the way I loved my first husband. They could not match up to the way I love this man. And I mean, could not by no means match up to the way I love this man. When we got together, it was perfect. Everything was perfect. I walked away from everything here, and I moved to Borger with him. And we got married within a couple months. And we got together September. And we got married in November. I'd known him from high school, or from grade school, and he moved away from here. But, I mean, we were friends back then. We never kept in touch or anything like that, but my dad and them was like, hey, come over, somebody's over here. And we hit it off. I told him I didn't want a relationship. He said the same thing. Neither one of us wanted a relationship. So, and we had a bet going. We're in my bedroom. at my house. He came over one day. And the chick on the phone was so jealous of us, too, that she's like, yeah, I bet y'all can't stay away from each other. Y'all, you know, whatever. Because we had been hanging out. And he leans down. I said, I bet you don't know this one song. He goes, hold on, let me see it. He grabs his phone, he puts the song in, and I didn't even say the song. And I said, the new one. And it was by, hold on. My mom went blank. It was by Jason Aldean. Got what I got. It was new. It just came out. I said, I bet you don't know this one that just came out. By Jason Aldean. But I didn't say what one. And he brought it up. And I was doing my makeup in the mirror. Just in my room, I have a vanity. And I sit there and I do my makeup. I'm sitting there and this man starts singing to me in my ear. Just one of those moments you're like, wow, you know, and it hit. And it hit hard. Because I had been screwed over in relationships so many times.
She said, baby, do you ever miss being alone? I said, hell no, I don't. She said, do you really think I'm where you belong? I said, you know and I know you're perfect for me. Everything I'll ever need, I ain't playing. What I'm saying, when I got what I got, I don't miss what I had.
This man made me fall in love with him. And I did hard. I did. It was perfect. I just felt like somebody was finally there. Somebody finally had my back. And
when you're talking like that, girl, ain't no second thoughts, no regrets, no kind of maybe. No wishing I turned back before you came along. I could go on, no, girl, just kiss me. You're all that I want when I got what I got.
you know, when you don't have nobody to stand beside you, to have your back, and you find someone that you think will stand up for you and speak and protect you. It was the best feeling. And I was on cloud nine. Well, we got married. And my stupid ass came up with this idea. He wasn't to be around his dad. He didn't want to be around him. You know, his dad was not a good person. And they had a secondhand store in Border. And he tells me, he goes, why don't you take your stuff over there and sell it? Because I restore antiques. I love doing it. I could take trash of someone else's and make it into something gorgeous. And I was doing that. Well, I got sick. And this was his cousin and his aunt that was over the store. We've known each other because we had issues for the last 4 years. Because I was dating my husband's cousin's baby daddy. Worst 4 years of my life. Okay, it was off and on. It wasn't like a steady thing. It wasn't nothing like that. So I can't even say it was a relationship. He was abusive. He used to choke slam me. Choke me till I passed out. I mean, a narcissist. Oh my God, he's a narcissist. So we had issues. And I said, they're going to take everything from me if I do that. He's like, no, they're not. It's my family. They're not going to do that to me. He's like, take it over there, sell your stuff, make us some money, where we have money. I said, okay. So I did. They sold every bit of that furniture out from under me, and I never got a dime of it. He was at a place where he didn't want to go against his family, but he didn't want to go against me. He wanted, he was trying to be mutual with it. You can't be mutual with that, no matter how hard you try. I understood, but it hurt. It hurt so bad. And I never received a dime out of that. They got away with all of that. And that was how I made my money. Now, being that his dad was fixing to move back in with his mother, because we had moved into his mother's house because she was there by herself. So, and then the dad, I'm not going to come back now. He up and leaves whenever he wants and just leaves her sitting. But being that she doesn't want to take care of him, well, I'll go find someone else to take care of me if you're not going to do it, because he's not going to work. And he straight up told her, if you don't take care of me, somebody else will. Girl, you better let him go. You better let him walk out that door. Let somebody else take care of him. Well, his sister makes sure that Brandon's mother does not walk away from this man, because she doesn't want to take care of him. That's her brother. She doesn't want to take care of him, so she puts it off on her. And it is not her responsibility to take care of a grown-ass man. I was learning that myself, because the baby daddy that I was with, I financially supported that man for 4 years while I was being beat down, run through the mud. I mean, just the worst narcissist you could ever possibly come across. I had been beat on so much by him that one day he come at me. And he was beating me up in the truck. I was stuck between two seats. I was in the front seat. He had a chick in the front seat. And so I was between the two seats, and I was trying to kick her. As he's punching me in the face, I'm subtly telling him, every time you hit me in the face, I'm going to kick her in the face. Because I had my boots on. And I'm like, I'm not going to sit here and take this. She's going to get hit, as well as me being hit. Somehow, some way, she gets out of the truck, and he gets out. And he goes around to the driver's side as I'm getting out of the driver's side. The only thing I could hear in my mind was, if he gets his hands on you, he's going to hurt you. He's going to take you down. Because his buddies are standing here watching all of this, not doing nothing about it. And all I could hear in my mind was my dad tell me, when you go to hit somebody, you rear back and you put your entire body into it and don't stop until they hit the ground. Okay. I'm 150 pounds at this time. This boy was 300 plus. Stan's probably 5'10", 5'11". I'm 5'9". I'm a big girl. Hey! No! Quit! No! You better stop it. Quit! No! Sorry about that. Anyways, it's a big ass boy. And when he came around the truck, I just doubled up my fists and I reared back and I hit that man right in the face. And he dropped. Ow. I don't visually see him when I hit him, but I could hear that hit. And I hear him hit the ground. The only thing I could is that hit. I mean, it was loud. I was like, oh shit, I done something. And I didn't stop until he hit that ground. And he stands up, he screams out, and he's like, she hit me in the face. He stands up, he stumbles, and he drops to the ground again. And at that point, I was like, you need to stay on the ground like the bitch you are. And he gets up. His eye, wow. Within an hour, that thing was black. And he admitted, he goes, I'll never say this again. But I'm going to tell you something. And he's been pistol whipped. I was there when he got pistol whipped. And I had to take him to my house and sew his head up. Because I wasn't going to the hospital. Hell no, there was a gun involved. I'm not going. Y'all are stupid. Well, it was over stupid shit, too. So I said, I'm not taking you to the hospital. I'll sew your head up, but I ain't taking you to the hospital. If I take you, I'm just dropping you off. So I took him to my house, and I sewed his head up. I got a video of that, too. But he goes, me being pistol whipped and hit on and beat up, he goes, you hit me the hardest. That's the hardest I've ever been hit. And I guess when you have fear in you, you can do a lot of things. But anyways, that's what I had dealt with for 4 years before me and my husband got together. My husband and I weren't even around each other, didn't even acknowledge each other. And they sold everything out from under me, everything. Kept all the money. I didn't get nothing. And that's what started our argument. And being as I was moving back home, I said, well, do you want to move back to my place? I own my home. You know, we can fix it up. And he's like, yeah, we can do that. But I'm still on this whole kick of, I want my stuff or I want my money. And I should have just let it go. I should have let it go and it just be chalked up. That was a lot of money. Especially antiques. Antiques are expensive. And it's not the money value. I'm more of sentimental value. I like antiques because I wish I knew the story behind them. And don't ask me why I feel that way or why I'm even like that, because in the past I wasn't like that. But just like one day, I've always noticed antiques, you know, but it wasn't the value of it. It was the sentimental value that struck my attention. Like, if walls could talk, if, you know, furniture could talk, you know, somebody's necklace, if it could talk, just to tell you the story behind it, where it's been, who it's with, you know, just I think that sparks my attention well. Well, he's on the phone with his aunt trying to get information of what happened and why it was sold, and she lied to him. She said, well, you know that China hutch? Now, we had went to a garage sale a couple days, or a week prior to this. Yeah, it was a week prior to this. And I bought this China hutch. And she goes, that China hutch has been mine. It's been mine for years. I'm sitting there, and he's like, yeah. And I'm thinking, you're agreeing with her? You know that I bought that. I mean, me, I jumped the gun, and I got pissed off. And I left, and I came home, to my home. That hurt. That he was not saying or defending me in any way, shape, or form. And I thought, I'm doing it again by myself. He comes over here and he's in tears and he's like, I don't want to lose you. And I should have just stopped. But it affected me that everything gets taken and I don't even have money to do anything with. This is what I bring up. This is what I fight for. This is what I do to make my money. No, it just affected me so bad. Like, I can't win for losing on this shit. It haunted us. It did, and it didn't stop. And my husband walked out on me 3 days before Christmas. He went to work and he never came back home. The night before that, my dad had my son arrested. Which he was 16 at the time. I had my son arrested. And he got sent down to Lubbock to the detention center. And that messed me up bad because my son was being taken. I'm a nervous wreck, needing my husband to be here with me. But that job came first. Everything, that job came first, no matter what it was. I could be sick. I had COVID. I thought I was going to die. Laying in my bathroom floor, sweating so bad that I came out of my clothes. I puked for 7 days. I was sick. Ran fever. That man went to work and left me like that, laying in that bathroom floor. And I still wanted him. His family did not like me. So I knew it was going to be a chore to even be in this marriage. But I was willing to fight. And, I cried every single day for a whole year. I cried. I'm still crying today. And it's been a year and a half. Oh, a year and... No, I take it back. A year and 2 months that he's been gone. I love that man more than anything. But the registering officer, because he was registered. He was registered. The registering officer was the chick that was from Borger that was a sex offender. And that's the one that didn't like me, which had her husband always out here. Yeah, okay. Her husband was a sheriff. Her recent husband, her last husband. Because her other husband, he was still in Borger. He was a cop in Borger too, which I had to block on Facebook because he kept sending me dick pics. If I had something looking like that, I wouldn't be sending pics out. And that's exactly what I told him. I had to block him because he wouldn't stop sending them to me. Then I lost access to that account, so I can't get in there to prove that. But, he had to register with her, knowing that she doesn't like me. And, he started pulling away from me. Well, he kicked in my door one day. It was fine. He kicks in the front door. And, we had an argument like a week prior to that. And, somehow he comes over here to me, and I don't think that he intentionally meant to, but I think when he tripped, he fell. His teeth were in my scalp. Me, I'm pissed off because we're arguing, and I thought you did that purposely. So, on this fight, when he kicked in the door, I go to block my face to protect myself. And when the cops got here, I said, well, I want to file charges, da-da-da. And she comes in here. She goes, if you file charges on him, I'll get you for choking him. I said, I didn't choke him. I didn't touch him. She goes, when you put your hand up over your face, you could have. I said, but I didn't. I didn't even go for him. I said, I've never even touched him like that. I've never hit this man. Nothing. She goes, if you file charges on him, I'll get you for choking him. She has her camera off. Her and this other officer. And she's like, do you have anything to tell us? Do you have anything to hide? I said, lady, I ain't got a damn thing to hide. I said, but since I'm going to be threatened, there's the door. I have the police report where they went back and they wrote everything that he said down. But she said I choked him. I did not choke that man. I did not touch that man's throat. I did not touch nothing on him. I went to protect myself. This is how these cops are. No matter what I do, it's my fault. No matter what it is, I'm being punished for it. And so I tell the other cops, I said, this ain't right. I said, I didn't do this. Oh, I don't know, I wasn't here. Or I don't know, I wasn't on duty. They won't let me file charges. They won't let me talk to nobody. I mean, I can't do anything. I've reached out to so many people, so many lawyers. Nobody will touch my case. And at this point, I've tried to commit suicide so many times, it's unreal. I've cut my wrist. Which my wrist is healed now. But I can't even count how many times that I've tried to do this because I can't get them to stop. At this point, she's came between me and my husband. My husband left me. And, that was the worst. Out of everything I had been through, besides my daughter's death was the worst thing anybody could possibly go through. You're dead after that. You're dead inside. But something about him sparked that up. And it was just something that I did not want to lose. But I lost it. He divorced me in September. But his lawyer was so crooked that I told him in the mediation, I said, I think I need a lawyer because everything that I was saying that I wanted. Hold on. No. Hey. Come here. Come here. Let's go potty. Okay, sorry. My dog's... I'm potty breaking. House training, whatever. Anything in the divorce that I wanted was not being put down. I mean, it was mediation, but I'm on the phone instead of a video call. We're just doing on the phone. Well, I realized it's the people in that lawyer's office that's doing the mediation. So, all the stuff that I wanted wasn't, no, you're not going to get that. No, you're not going to get that. I said, I want all my furniture, or the money for my furniture that you and your family decided to take out from under me. No, you're not going to get that. The lawyer. I said, hold on a second. I said, y'all can go ahead and keep that Vaseline. Nobody's being screwed today. I said, I think I'm going to go find a lawyer. He had court set up within a week. So I couldn't get a lawyer. Now, mind you, they had him take all the funds away from me. I had no income. And I was not able to walk for 2 months. I messed up my back. So I was down for 2 months, not being able to walk, not being able to make money, nothing. I had no food, nothing. And they're telling him, do not give her money, don't give her nothing. So I'm sitting here with not a damn thing. My utilities are being shut off. It was in the middle of the winter. They kept shutting my gas and water off. The city kept doing it. I went and paid the bill for it to be turned back on, and they turned it right back off. This was a nonstop ordeal. So, he had my cell phone taken from me. He had the utilities turned off on me. And I wasn't able to work. I wasn't able to support myself. I wasn't able to do anything. I went without food. And his lawyer had it set up. I told him, I said, I cannot make that. Oh, we'll cancel this one. So it made it look like they canceled one and then rescheduled it for a week later or 2 weeks later. I said, I cannot get a lawyer in that amount of time. I have no money. And the judge, I even called up there to the courthouse. I said, I cannot make that. I said, we're going to have to reschedule that. I'm trying to get a lawyer. She ignored that. I emailed the lawyer. I said, I cannot make that. We need to wait because I need to get a lawyer. They went ahead and had court without me. I lost everything. And why would they put a no contact order permanently when I wasn't there to defend myself? So I can't even contact him. And it was like everything had just been ripped away from me. What's the point in even living after this? I mean, come on now. I deal with this every day. What's the point in even wanting to go on? Everything's ripped from you. You can't do nothing about it. They just keep taking. So for the past year, my house has been broke into 8, 9 times. I've made reports. I went to the cops. I've told them. They won't do a damn thing about it. They don't have one copy of the report up there. And I still have my dogs at this point. My husband took the hot wire down. So my dogs started getting out. And the dog catcher picks up one dog one time. And I went up there to get her. Brought her back. He was like, well, I see that you're trying to fix your fence, you know. And I thought he was all cool at this time. I was like, I am. I'm working hard on my fence every day. And my husband had already left. My house was falling apart. I didn't have anything. I've struggled with no money for a long time now. Now, I do this without money, okay? So when they say that you can't do stuff without money, they're lying. But I busted my ass. And I really couldn't at that time because my back was still messed up. They said I needed surgery. One wrong turn, I could end up paralyzed. Medicaid ended my Medicaid. So I couldn't get surgery done. Which sucks because I'm 39 years old. One wrong turn, I could end up paralyzed for the rest of my life. Because I've been beat on so bad by my exes. It's unreal. Well, somebody posted on Facebook, if I see these dogs out, I'm going to shoot them. They took a picture of my dogs underneath the trampoline because it was so hot that they were cooling off. They said, if I see these dogs out, yeah, I'm not going to get them. I'm going to shoot them. Now, mind you, my dogs had Down syndrome. They were slow. They weren't mean. They weren't aggressive. They didn't bite nobody. If you walked up and played with them, they would play with you. Okay? Only time that my dog ever barked at people was at nighttime if they were walking down the street. Okay? Well, I get on there, I said, oh, you don't want to do that. You're not going to shoot my dogs. Those were all I had left was my dogs. A year prior to them doing this to my dogs, the daddy dog, the white Bocephus, I had to have put down because he had cancer. It took me 3 months to make that decision because I wanted to save my dog. The Spearman vet gave him steroids. And if you want to save your dog, do not give him steroids. I didn't know that steroids sped up the cancer. When I told them, look, I want to do chemo, I want to do this, I need to save my dog. He was my best friend. And I had a video of the night before I had him put down. He comes in my craft room. And he's so skinny at this point. And I thought, 70, you're just killing him. You're hurting him. He comes in there and he looks at me like, I'm tired. And I felt that. And I said, I know. He came up and he shook my hand. Like, it's time. And I laid with him and I cried all night. And I told my husband at that point, I said, it's time. So we drive all the way to Panhandle the next evening. And my dog's up roaming around like he's happy-go-lucky. He knows what's going on. And before this, he didn't care. He'd lay in the floor. He didn't get excited anymore. He was just done. We get to Panhandle and the vet tells me, because my dog's roaming around like nothing was ever wrong. Your dog's full of life. Take him back home. I said, no, he's not. I said, you don't know my dog. I said, my dog's done. He said, no, he's not. I have a dog at home. He's full of life. I thought the same thing, but he's full of life. He's ready to go. I said, I'm telling you right now. My dog was not like this until we got in the car to come here. I said, my dog is tired. And he's sick. And he had knots all over him. And that happened so fast. I told my husband, I said, I can't go in there with him. I can't watch them kill him. Me, stupid ass, I went to take a picture. As they gave him the shot, he drops. And that was the picture I have left. My husband goes in there with him. He's like, you're going to see flopping. So this is that was my cue to walk out. You're going to see flopping. He's going to jerk. It's going to take this whole syringe to put him down. It's going to be a long process. That man stuck that needle in that puppy. In my baby. And barely got this much in him, and my baby dropped to the ground. And that was the hardest. I had a panic attack. I freaked out. I was like, maybe I made the wrong decision. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. And the veterinarian comes out there and he goes, I eat my words. He said, I'm so sorry for ever questioning what you thought. He's like, I said, he was done. He's like, it didn't even take the whole syringe. It didn't even take a quarter of it. He said, I apologize. I eat my words. Because I was wrong. He's like, you knew. I said, I know. And here I am, hysterical. I'm getting in the car. My husband's bringing out my dog. Put him in the back seat. That was the roughest ride home. When I got home. Now, he had babies here. They were probably 6 months old. And the little girl was happy-go-lucky. And she was the one that had Down syndrome bad. She would hide behind me no matter who was here, no matter what was going on. She hid behind me. And she's like a little 2-year-old kid. I pull up in the driveway. And she's always happy-go-lucky when you pull up at the fence. I pull up in the driveway and she's sitting there. She's not jumping around. She's not doing nothing. She knew. And she looked at me as I'm getting out of the car, and it was like she was asking me, why did you do that to my daddy? I lost it. I come in the house, and my husband goes out there, and his buddy shows up to help him. And him and Jerry's outside. They build a box. I said, I want an actual coffin. I want a box. They went out there, and they built it. They made the perfect box. And they dug the hole, and it was perfect. And I can't thank them enough for doing that for me. I can't, honestly. But I never got to get over that. Because there was a lot going on at that time. Me and my husband was still fighting. I mean, it was horrible. My cousin got killed before Christmas. My son got taken a week after that. Almost a week. It was 3 days before Christmas. 4 days. My husband left me 3 days before Christmas. My other cousin died from being sick of COVID, if I'm not mistaken, a week later, or right after Christmas. My daughter's passing away. Her anniversary's on January 1st. So I was dealing with all of that at one time. So 2 deaths, my son being taken, my husband walking away, and my daughter's anniversary. A month later, my aunt dies. A month after that, the man that I was looking up to at that point, I know it wasn't an ex. I know it was not from natural causes. I know. These cops will never stop. But I know he didn't die from natural causes. I told him it was a setup when I walked in it. I walked in the house. Nobody wants to listen to me. And I've emailed the cops. Something's not right. He didn't die from natural causes. This ain't natural. This ain't normal. Because he called me over there 3 days prior to him passing away. And he tells me, I know you got a big mouth. You'll get everything out there. I said, I don't give a shit. I'll tell you. I'll say what I need to say. He goes, I need you to push some documents out. But you can't do it under your name. You can't do it under your phone. You can't do it from your computer. And here I'm thinking, well, what's so bad that, it's that bad? And he's like, it'll get a couple of our cops fired. He's like, and I need you to push it out there. I said, okay. And he also told me, he goes, they dropped my charges. This man would have been hysterical. I mean, just happy-go-lucky, let's party, And he's an elderly man, but he'd been ready to go. And he said, they dropped my charges. Tanner tried to hem him up on some charges that he wasn't even there on the situation. Okay, a year later is when he tried to hem him up with these charges, when that was already done and over with. And this person was nowhere near that situation. But he comes a year later and tries to put these charges on him. And let me tell you, that's our twisted ass cops. And I said, well, aren't you happy? Yeah, I'm happy. I said, no, you're not. I said, you're not happy. He's like, no, I'm happy. And he just sat there with his blank stare. I'm going through my husband leaving and everybody dying in my fucking family at that time, and I'm scatterbrained, okay? And I should have paid closer attention. 3 days later, he's dead. Now, when I walk into his house, this man had an infection in his leg, his knee. So he couldn't straighten or bend his leg. So he wouldn't sit on the love seat in his house. But when you walk in, the mirror is in the hallway that reflects into his bedroom. So I could see him. And I thought, well, he's not dead. He's sitting on the love seat. I walk in his house, and I go to his bedroom. This man is sitting on a love seat that I know for a fact that he could not get down on. Oh, there's your sticker. And he's sitting just like this. But he's freaking dead. First time I've ever seen a body like that. I've seen them in the caskets, and funerals. Never have I seen one like that. And he's as white as a ghost. And I'll never forget this, because that feeling, he looked straight through my body. Like, I could feel it was empty. He was empty. Like just an empty stare. And I knew something was wrong. The cop is standing right here beside me. She goes, we don't want nobody going in the bedroom. We don't want fingerprints everywhere. I said, well, this bedroom's already been ransacked. I said, because, now, I'm not disrespecting his house by no means, but it was like a garage was in his house. Okay? That's how it was all the time. You could have taken a white glove to that bedroom alone. By the time we had all showed up. And everything had been taken out of there. Everything had been gone through. It was all gone. Everything was gone. And she said they didn't want fingerprints everywhere. The chick on the couch opens her mouth and says, my fingerprints are all over him. That stopped me in my tracks, because when you're checking for a pulse, there's only two places to check, and that's your neck and your wrist. Why would your fingerprints be all over him? The cop ignores the fact that she says this. And I said, Dad, why would there be fingerprints all over him? And I made it loud. If there's only two places to check for pulse. Nobody responds. I said, well, what about this room being cleaned up? I mean, nobody's going to look into that. Nobody responds. For days. I came home that night. And I came in my house, and I needed to go feed my dogs. So I come in here and I get the dog food. I go to feed my dogs. As I'm walking out and going halfway through my yard, and I got a big yard. It's dark out here. I felt like he was coming towards me off that love seat. And like something evil was coming at me. And it scared the shit out of me. And I screamed, and I went to cry, and I ran inside my house. And I slammed the door, and a guy was in with me at the time. He was a roommate in my back room. He comes out, he goes, are you okay? I was like, no, something's out there. And I freaked. I shut all my blinds. All the curtains. And I go to my room, and I drop to my knees, and I cried for days. And I cried, and I cried. But let me tell you, I've never had an encounter with the dead or nothing like that. You want to talk about scared? I was so scared that I wouldn't walk in front of my windows. Okay? I had my windows shut. Curtains shut. I covered up my mirrors. All my mirrors, I put sheets over them. Because I could see him. And it was driving me insane. Like, why am I seeing him? I should not be seeing him. Like, if I felt like he was coming toward me. Like it was something evil. And, finally one day it stopped. It was like 4 days later. Now his funeral was like 2 weeks late because the autopsy took almost 2 weeks. And now they say it was natural causes. I don't think so. I was trying to get ready for the funeral. And I'm standing in my room folding clothes on the opposite side of my bed from my door. And I was here alone by myself that day. I'm trying to get ready. I'm trying my hardest to get ready to go. Something would not let me. Okay. Now, mind you, if it comes to ghosts and shit, I'm a chicken shit. I'm going to hide. Sorry, I'm going to freak out. And I was sitting there folding clothes. And it's like somebody sprayed cologne right in my face. And I was like, well, is Jason here? So I come out of my room, come in the living room, and I holler for Jason. He's not here. I thought, well, that's odd. I go back in my room, and I'm standing in the doorway, where I smelled it was on the opposite side of my bed. And I don't smell it. I walk on the other side of my bed. It was like somebody sprayed it in my face again. And the first thing out of my mouth was, please don't scare me. I don't care that you're here, just please don't scare me. Don't let me see you. I don't want to see you. I do, but I don't. I said, please don't scare me. And it was like somebody put their hand on me and a calming sensation came over me. I've never had an encounter like that. Never dealt with anything like that. But, it was like it calmed me down. And I'm still steadily trying to get ready for this funeral. And something is stopping me. I didn't get to go. Something stopped me from going. Well, they sent me pictures of him. After 2 weeks of being embalmed, you ain't gonna have color to your face. Sorry, I don't see where that can be explainable. And you damn sure shouldn't have blood coming out of your ears. They had to put a bag and a towel underneath his head because there was blood coming out of his ears in the funeral. They made him wear a long sleeve shirt and nobody was allowed to touch his arms. His arms weren't crossed on his stomach like they normally would be. They're straight down. I got pictures of him in the casket. Nothing of this was right. Not even but a couple months later, the girl that he was seeing ends up dead. Another girl went to jail, knew she was going to be in jail for a minute. She was fine with it. Ends up dead. They said she hung herself. She didn't hang herself. Her neck was broke. Our cops are behind this. Whether y'all want to admit it or not, they are. Come to find out on Donald, he died in his living room. He didn't die in his bedroom where we found him. He died in his living room. There was people there. They acted like nobody was there. And the 911 call and the person that he called first, ways apart on time frame. So it gave them time cleaning up the house. It gave them time to do everything. The chick that said that her fingerprints were all over him, they were because she picked him up and moved him to the bedroom. Why is nobody looking at that? And the one that was there that played innocent, I'm going to go to rehab. The second day after he was dead, he bounces out and goes to rehab. Ain't that kind of odd? This is insane, okay? I have his cell phone. And I know that's probably going to bring heat to me. I have his cell phone. They've erased a month full of messages from his text to them on the ones that were there. The phone calls are erased. The documents to have the police fired are on that phone. And I know that they're trying to get to that. And I know that's why they're trying to hit me up with charges now. But anyways, since my dog had died. A year later exactly. And they said that they were going to kill my dogs. They were going to shoot them. The next day, my dogs were out of my yard. I called the city every day. Where's my dogs? I want my dogs. Give me my dogs. I looked. I searched. For months, they told me they didn't have my dogs. And then, no. They finally tell me, Because I called the State Bar of Texas. I said, I've called the State Bar of Texas, and I'm going to get to the bottom of this. They said, we adopted your dogs out. Excuse me? You said you didn't have my dogs. And we adopted them out. You're going to have to get a lawyer to fight for them back. Here I am trying to get a lawyer. No lawyer wants to touch it. None of them. And I don't get it. You're a lawyer. You don't feel like you can fight against something in court? I mean, what's the point of being a lawyer if you're not going to do it? It's all about money. I get it. I'm a broke bitch. I ain't got money. I don't have money to finish my house. My house ain't finished. I have no heat in here. I freeze. You see that little fireplace? That's the only thing that I have. That's why I've always got a jacket on when I'm doing these. I sit here, I'm always cold. There's air leaking in, my roof leaks. The windows won't close. There's mold on my wall. And I've done my best to do this. But I can't with nothing. But I understand money's everything. Money talks, bullshit walks. I get it. But when I told them that I called the Texas Rangers and I've got the State Bar of Texas, and I had told them that I spoke with the lawyer, I said they need all the documents because they wouldn't give me no documents, no nothing. A week before that, I was out mowing the land next to me, which isn't mine. It's the guy's across the street. But he's an older man, so I just went out there and mowed it. And I mowed it all summer last summer. And I found dog toys and beer cans on the other side of my fence. They weren't my dog's toys. They had lured my dogs out of my fence. Picked them up. At this point, I'm finally, the only reason why I'm getting the documents is because I told them I called the Texas Rangers, and I called State Bar of Texas, and I called a lawyer. And I go up there to get the documents, and I have the voice recording of that day. And that was the day that I found out what they did to my babies. And this isn't fair. It's not fair. I'd already lost my husband. I lost everything. But these cops will not stop. They refuse to leave me alone. And every time I say I'm going to put harassment charges on them, I get harassment hit with it hard. I'm looking at spending a year in jail because the judge will not listen to me. She's already convicted me. She doesn't give two shits what I got to say. Let me see. I gotta figure out which one it is, but I've got a recording of them giving me the paperwork, and I get to the very back document. Now they act like they're dumb on this. I said, "What is this veterinary clinic?" I said, "What is this?" And they're like, "Oh, we don't know. They put their faces down, and it states my dogs were euthanized the day that they picked them up. I said, "You killed them. I've been searching for my dogs for months, and you killed my dogs. And y'all told me to go get a lawyer to fight for them back, and I could have them back if I adopted them back. But I'd have to get a lawyer to do this," which I was steadily trying to find a lawyer. And they killed my dogs the day that they picked them up. Was the first day they went missing. The dog catcher quit. The documents that they gave me, they lied on. They lied their asses off on it. And nobody would do nothing about it. Nobody would fight with me. Nobody would help me. Nobody would do anything. So that dog catcher quits. And in the mix of all of this, I'm fighting the cops trying to leave me the fuck alone. Stay away from me. I hate life at this point. I don't want to be here. And, it was coming income tax time. My son, he's supposed to live with me, but with all that going on, I let him go live with his dad. He didn't need to be around all this stupid shit that's going on. I wanted him to come home because I was by myself. I wanted my son. His dad's like, "No, you're not taking him." I've already lost my daughter. I've lost family members. My husband walks away. And he won't let me talk to my son. He's changed the numbers, which is illegal because in my divorce papers, he was supposed to live with me. He has Mason come and get his Social Security card because the stepmother doesn't want me to have it. It's mine. It's not yours. You didn't have kids with this man. I had kids with this man. This is my kids. You need to stay the fuck out of it. This bitch has to be in it. The only time I get to talk to Jimmy is if I go through her to talk to him. And I have to talk to her. I have to talk to her and she relays it. I'm done. She has him come get a Social Security card. Well, that's the only way your mom can't file taxes and you'll get the taxes. So your mom don't get no money. So my son comes and gets it from me, saying he's going to go get a job. Come to find out, she put my name on his taxes this year to stop me from doing anything. This bitch, she's going to go put her criminal trespass on me, so I can't even go see my kid. So at this point, I can't go over there. I can't call. I can't go see my kid whatsoever. And there's nothing saying that I can't besides these cops here. I've got 7 criminal trespasses on me. People that I've stolen from my house. And my ex-husband from my kids. And the cops won't stop putting them on me. They just put one on me. With the guy, when people started stealing from my house, that's when all the criminal trespass started. Because the cops wouldn't do nothing about it, so I was going to go up to the house and take the shit back myself. It's my stuff. I worked my ass off for it. Not one report was made. And it's not ever been made. And I've called repeatedly. I've got recordings after recordings after recordings and phone calls. And what they'll do, they'll pick up. They'll put me on hold without saying a word. They'll put me on hold and then push me off to a voicemail. Every time I call for a cop. Every time I call to see where my dogs are. And that's the only thing I get. I called one day and asked them, because they just took a little Chiweenie that I had here recently. And the new dog catcher picks it up and takes it, okay? She wasn't even out of the house, not even an hour, because I let her out to use the bathroom. She takes my dog, and for 3 weeks, I've got the recordings. 3 weeks, she would not answer my phone call. She would not respond to me. Nothing. Not until the last day. And she goes, well, it's going to be a dog at large ticket, which is $500. It's going to be a kennel fee, $125, and then you've got $25 for this. And I said, I can't afford that. I was like, y'all just killed my dogs. Well, needless to say, she says she adopted her out, and I don't get her back either. They just keep taking. The chief of police that I filed all these reports with of people stealing from my house, he said, let me put some extra surveillance on your house so nobody will break in. I was down in Odessa at that point. And I was out of town. And somebody moves their camper in behind my house on that lot. And it runs an extension cord in my back door. And a cop does nothing about it. My dad calls me. He goes, who's this camper at your house? I said, there shouldn't be a camper at my house. Come to find out, when I got home, it was a guy that I barely even knew. Older man. And he had been in my house and he had stole so much stuff out of here. And when I realized it, and I went to tell him that I knew that he took it, he picked up his camper and he hauled ass up to the city park where the chief of police lives in his camper, which you can only be there for 3 days, but not for him. I mean, he's been there for almost a year, over a year. And he's right there in these, I mean, they're butted up together. So me and that guy's having a screaming match, and the chief of police is in his camper. Both his vehicles were there. It was in the middle of the day. He was there. And we have a screaming match. Well, I had walked up there because my battery on my car was dead. So I walked back to my house, get my car jumped off, and I go back up there. By the time I get there, Officer Ramon's there. I take 2 steps out of my car. He's in my face screaming, you need to stop harassing people in this town. You need to leave people alone. I'm fixing to put a criminal trespass on you for the park so you can't even come up here. I've got it for me at Allsups. I've got one on me at Dairy Queen. All because the cops tell them, well, just stick a criminal trespass on her. You know, she won't be able to come up here. I've got one on me at my own fucking house. Come on now. I'm looking at a harassment charge of going to jail because they said my ex-husband put it on me. But see, this is the thing. My ex-husband filed a criminal trespass March 15th. A week before September 1st, I told the cops, I'm going to get y'all for harassment. The next day, Tanner, the one that doesn't ever leave me alone, comes up to Ossup, says, I'm getting gas. This is before I got the criminal trespass there. And he tells me, because I posted on Facebook about what they did, or what was going on with my dogs. I can't find them. The city's crooked, the whole 9 yards. And Tanner goes, if you don't take down off Facebook what you posted. And that's what he did. And I quote, remember last time you got put in jail for 20 days for something you did not do because you pissed a cop off? That's fixing to happen again. I'll be damned, I was arrested a week later. I'm at the dollar store. No warrant, no nothing. He's jerking my purse off my arm. I told him, don't touch me without a warrant. My son's sitting there. He was like, if you don't leave, I'm going to arrest you too. I was like, you're not going to touch my son. I said, now give me a warrant and I'll go with you. They don't have a warrant. They didn't have a warrant. It's because Tanner told them to arrest me. Now this judge is going with them, right in the cahoots with them, won't even let me speak in court. I got one appointed lawyer. And because I didn't want to cooperate because I said I wasn't taking that plea because I'm not guilty, because Tanner set me up, she tells me, well, don't worry about going to court. We don't have to go to this court date. My bondsman's like, no, Stephanie, you be up there. Be at that court date because that don't sound right. I went. I was late, but I went. I get up there and I said, my lawyer's not here. And she's like, no, she withdrew from you. Okay, because you weren't cooperating. And I went to say, and she goes, I don't want to hear it. That was your one and only chance. So now you go find a lawyer. You get to pay for it. Knowing that I have no money. Knowing that I have nothing. That everything's been jerked from me. I've called lawyer after lawyer after lawyer to get help. And nobody will help me without having $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. And I'm sitting here like, my house is falling apart where I barely have a place to sleep. And y'all keep taking from me and y'all steadily putting charges on me. And I'm sitting here like, I can't breathe. I cannot breathe anymore. I've tried to hang myself. The hook didn't stay. I've tried to cut my wrist. If I had a gun, I wouldn't be here. I promise you that. Nobody will listen to me. And I don't know who I need to get this out there to, but I need to get it out there to somebody. I'm not asking for money. By no means am I asking for money. I don't want money. I'm good. I can live without money. I can live like this. I just want them to stop. Because I know there's unexplained deaths. And I know the one that just stole from my house that had his camper here. I know they let the cops in. I was sitting here the other night. And I don't even have a TV plugged in here. Okay, all you heard was a little Bluetooth speaker. That's all I have. Okay? TV's not plugged in. I don't watch TV. TV's corrupt. And since my daughter passed away, TV is corrupt. The shit that they put on TV should not be allowed. And I'm sitting in my room, and there's nothing in there plugged in. And I hear a radio frequency. Now, I'm not out of my mind. I'm not losing my mind. But I think that would be a lot better if I was. And the next day I hear a fax machine. The noise of a fax machine. I'm thinking, Stephanie, you're going insane. You're going insane. I don't have to leave my house for me to get in trouble. I don't have to do a damn thing. I got a pre-warrant, which is right here. A pre-warrant the other day. I've got, look at this. Criminal trespass. Criminal trespass. Criminal trespass. Criminal trespass. Criminal trespass. It's a veterinary clinic where they killed my animals. For no reason. They did not attack nobody. They did not bite nobody. They did nothing. This is the dog bite. Okay, after they picked up those three, my son had his dog here. She had no teeth. She was old. The night before this took place, there's a lady outside my house hollering for a dog that's not there. I mean, she's being quiet about it, but she's acting like she's hollering for a dog. I thought that's kind of odd. I've never even seen her or heard her or anything around over here. I even asked the neighbor. I was like, have you ever seen her over here? He's like, no. The next day, as soon as I left, somebody watched her take her dog. And she lives a street behind me and a block down. Bring her dog and stand right in front of my fence for that dog to attack. The dog went out there. She's jumping on her. She has no teeth. She goes to the border hospital. They turn her away. So she had to go to Amarillo on a dog bite. She's never been back around my house. She's never been back down my street. Nothing. It was a setup. They came and took that dog, gave me a dog at large ticket. That dog, it was my son's, but he had given it to Michael Harris. Okay, because he was out on a farm. That's when he was still living here. He was out on a farm, and he wanted dogs. He wanted a lot of dogs. I'd given him two of mine, and my son gave him that one. Michael brings them here because they don't have a place to go, and he goes to Amarillo. So I've got him out here. Well, he abandons them here, leaves them here. I said, you got to come get your dogs. I can't afford them. And he ignores me. It ain't my problem, whatever, you know. It's my problem, apparently. So months before this, I'm telling the dog catcher, I need you to come get this dog. I can't afford it. I repeatedly called the dog catcher. Please come get these dogs. I cannot take care of them. And there was a black one, and then there was the little girl, the old one. I said, I can't afford these dogs. I have my own I'm trying to take care of. I can't afford these dogs. We don't take dogs. The hell you don't. Y'all take mine all the time. Y'all kill mine all the time. Yes, you do. No, we don't take dogs. They refused to come and get this dog. So after they set that up and had that lady out there and had all that set up, the cop and the dog catcher, because I got the phone call. So I'm pulling up to my house. I already know what's going on. The dog catcher and the cop comes from back here and hauls us around and comes up to my fence. Oh, yeah, you got a dog at large ticket. I said, that's not even my dog. I've asked you to pick it up. So they tell me, if I'd have let the dog starve, I'd have been in trouble. I'd have went to jail. Being that I didn't let the dog starve and I fed it because Michael wouldn't come get it, even though it's abandoned, and I tried to get them to come pick it up, I still got in trouble. I don't know where any of this ends. I don't know. Hold on. I missed a part. Back when I said that the Officer Earls was sitting across the street watching my house. She come over here, we got an argument. That night at midnight, her husband's a sheriff. She was a city cop here. That night at midnight, that's the same one that messed up my arm. He pulls up behind my truck in my driveway. Now, I had a camera facing my driveway. That's the night my camera stopped working. He sat there for over an hour, almost 2 hours, waiting for me to come out of my house and say something to him. At midnight. Tell me that's not harassment. Tell me that's not stalking. Tell me that's not just nitpicking. I can't take this anymore. I have recordings. I have pictures. I have documentation. And nobody will touch this case. I pray to God that I don't wake up every night. All my stuff's been stolen that I have busted my ass for. Oh, I busted my ass. Even when I couldn't walk and my husband walked out and I thought I was going to be paralyzed. I could not stand. I still forced myself to bust my ass and get up and bring money in here, which I don't even remember the last time I've had money. And they want all kinds of money from me. And I don't have a damn thing left. I can't even pay my taxes. My taxes are a year behind. And they know this, and that's why they're still trying to rack them up. Finally, I own something, and they're wanting to take it from me.
they're going to end up taking my own life. And I've told them that. I told them, y'all are going to end up, I'm going to end up in the ground. And do you know, when I said that to the chief police, it's like, do you know how many times I tried to commit suicide? Over y'all? No, was his response. I think it's funny. It's not funny. But I'm telling y'all now, this is more than I can take. And if you're not one that can help me, and you're just going to be hateful or talk shit, please don't comment. I deal with enough of that every single day. I hate life every single day. I live in a house, a trailer house, that's ran down. Somebody blew the motor in my truck. It's gone. A car that I have now is a piece of shit. I have nothing. They've stolen it all. The cops, the cop told this one that stole from me, because somebody was there with them when it happened. Well, if she comes back harassing you, trying to get her stuff back, call us. We'll pick her up for harassment. We'll put her in jail. I have all the names of the people that stole from me. And I can't go get nothing back, or I go to jail. I need help. And I don't know where to start. I'm not asking for handouts. I'm asking for someone to fight beside me to stop this. But again, my name is Stephanie York. I'm 39 years old. I live in Stinnett, Texas, 40 minutes from Amarillo, north of Amarillo. Do I feel safe in my home? No, and I've screwed my window shut. But when you come home and you know that you left the porch light on and your inside lights were off, but when you come home, the inside lights are on and the porch light's off, and the cops think it's funny when you call them, you really don't want to call them, because you know they've been in here. When you accuse the cop of coming in your house, and he tells me, oh, I'm not listening to this, and he storms out of your house, without defending himself, he just gets pissed off and leaves. Yeah. I don't even know if any of y'all can help me. More than likely, they're going to take my home from me. I'm going to lose everything, and I'm going to end up in the ground. Because I don't know which way to go anymore. And all I ever wanted out of life, the only thing that I wanted, was for somebody to stand beside me. Someone to love me the way I love them, unconditionally. That I can love somebody so hard. And do pretty much everything that they want me to do. If they would just get to know me. And know the real me. Everybody thinks I'm drama right now. Believe me, I'm not following it. It's following me. I can't catch a break. I lost a marriage over this town and over this cops. That I wanted so bad. And it still fucks me up today, and I still just cry over it. I can't look at our pictures. I still have our pictures. I still have everything. I still have my wedding dress. I just recently took my ring off, and it messes me up. I feel so empty again. I feel dead inside. I don't know what else to do. I don't know how to do a YouTube channel, so I'm hoping this goes out right. And I know that my house looks like shit and I look like shit. I get it. I do. I get it. But I'm so depressed and so tired that I don't care no more. I don't give a shit no more. Because these cops are going to be the reason why I end up in the ground. Because they're trying to put me in jail now. I'm not going back to jail for something I didn't do. It's not fair.